Okay. So I know you've heard this saying, but I think that it is super valuable for me to continue to say this because all of us need the reminder that sometimes it's okay to not be okay. In today's episode, I am so excited to have my man Brian Simmons on. He is the founder and CEO of Positive Mental, a clothing brand based out of the US that is really trying to make sure that they're helping others to find confidence, love, and strength within themselves. We had a candid conversation about Brian's process, where he came from, some of the things that helped him to develop this much needed clothing brand. We had now also had an opportunity to talk a little bit more about all the times that he's been wanting to quit, all the times that he's really struggled with his own anxiety. So we had a really beautiful conversation about the value of not only really honing in on some of the things that really help and drive you, but also some of the people that you impact. He told some really phenomenal stories about some people that had reached out via his DMs from his content and had just said like, "Hey Brian, like thank you so much. This piece of content or your message really helped me. I almost ended my life the other day." And so I think it's super valuable for all of us to understand that at times it's okay to not be okay, but it's also not an excuse just to sit there and do nothing about the struggle that you're having. So we had, like I said, we had that candid conversation about an opportunities to continue to uplift a lot of the people in this world that are really struggling from a mental health perspective, and also forward thinking on some of the projects that he's super excited about, some of the new drops that he has. You'll hear this in the conversation, but I found him on accident on TikTok, and I will say that this man is someone that reminds me each and every day that spreading positivity is not so much about showing up and saying things to uplift people, but actually doing so in a way where you are a living example of what it looks like to lead with strength, confidence, and love. I hope you all enjoyed the episode. I know I enjoyed it. Let's get it. Oh, what's up, people? Welcome to another episode of the Can't Believe I Made It podcast. I am super fucking excited to have my man Brian Simmons on right now. We were just, giving back some pleasantries back and forth right now. So, Brian, this is the third podcast you've been on, correct?
Yes, their podcast.
And earlier you were diving into like jumping on others and them worrying about whether you'd even answer. Bro, I had the same feeling, man. I appreciate you even answering me.
Nah. Oh man.
It's a dude, I'm super excited to have you on for a lot of reasons. A lot of what I try to do, and our community knows this from a pod family perspective. We really
Mm,
try to tap into the mind of high level people and really try to find out what makes them tick. So I stumbled across some of your posts on TikTok. That's where I found you,
mm,
and I was incredibly inspired. I'm one person that continues to throw myself into the value of talking about mental health because I feel like, especially in this space, we don't see a whole lot of black and brown men talking
no.
about vulnerability, talking
Mm,
about mental health. So, dude, for so many reasons, bro, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast, man. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's dive into a little bit, Brian, of the story.
Mm,
Obviously, we have the brand, and I definitely want to talk about it. But I think
mm,
what I find with a lot of our guests that it's really inspiring is this idea had to come from somewhere. Some
mm.
things had to happen in your life where you were like, you know what, like I need to be talking about this more. So, I mean, for you, Brian, like, where are you from? Where does the story derive? Like, where did the brand come about?
So I'm from Los Angeles, California. I played basketball my whole life, like literally my whole life since I was 3 years old. I loved it.
I'm taking you from March Madness,
Um,
man. I'm sorry.
oh yeah. I man, and it's so crazy because March Madness is one of my favorite months too because I always love just like watching basketball all day, and
Yeah,
I used to be in high school in class just watching
just watching it.
because we used to have iPads,
Yeah.
so I love that. But played basketball since I was 3 years old. I was pretty good, ranked top 100 in California. Had a lot of
Damn.
interest in schools, but never really got a scholarship offer. But the thing is too, I've always been nervous and anxious my whole entire life. Really got bad when I got to high school because I felt like, it was so much pressure upon me as far as doing good to get a scholarship offer.
Yeah.
But I never knew what anxiety really was when I was young. I just thought like, okay, I'm just being nervous and scary basically. And it just always before every single game, it doesn't matter if the game is packed or if there's one person in the crowd, I always get nervous
Yeah.
every time. And the only way that I was able to cope with it was once I started playing. So say if I score a bucket or get a rebound or maybe cross somebody up, like I'm good. You know what
That'll
I'm saying?
do
And
both.
then I
Yeah.
start playing. Then I started playing. So kept playing, was doing really good in high school. I went to Sarah High School here in Gardena. uh, I left my 10th grade year. I kind of wanted to flourish and kind of be the man. I felt like at that school I couldn't be the man, but it was an amazing school. Loved it. Transferred to a school called Rancho Dominguez in Long Beach. Really good school, brand new school. It opened up in like 2014. Went there. I thrived really well. Also played travel ball spring, summer. So I did really well in the circuits.
I was gonna
But
say
I
that
always got
AAU
interest.
circuit.
Yeah, the AAU circuit. I was always on there. And AAU was fun. You meet friends, you meet people. If you're familiar with the Ball Brothers, I always played them every tournament. Every tournament I played them. My dad went to high school with their dad. So I was always familiar. Like with LaMelo, we always cross paths. So I was always playing them. So that was like a really cool experience knowing where they're at now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I got to this is when stuff like started happening. So I went to Montana State because they said that I could walk on because I had no scholarship offer, and I was like, I went to go D1, and I didn't believe. This is when I didn't believe in the whole junior college thing because I just felt like no, why would I go to a junior college? I was so negative about it and speaking bad on it, but I never had knowledge about it. I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So I went there and they had me do like some type of tryout, and I was like, why am I doing a tryout if y'all brought me here to walk on? So
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. Did all right. I did okay. Didn't do the best because I think in my head I was like, why am I here? It was like at 5 a.m. in the morning. Like I was like, what is this? So, fast forward, they said they would call everybody, like, whoever made and stuff. So they never called me like the first week. So I was like, what the hell?
What the hell?
So
Yeah.
then goes by, I call my coach, my travel ball coach. I'm like, yo, like, they haven't contacted me. And they told me that they were moving forward and told me that I'm not on the team. And I was like, wow. So
Rejection.
that like crushed my heart. That's when I was like, man, like I started crying. I was pretty depressed because I was like, wow, like that sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
came way over here to play basketball. Um, Fast forward, came back home. Dad came and got me. Then when I got home, of course, I had to look into junior colleges. So I started looking at junior colleges. I ended up going to East LA College. I don't know if you saw them on Netflix recently. They have like a whole series now. I forgot what the Netflix show is called. I can't think of it right
You're
now.
gonna have to hit me with it later because
I
I'm
am.
always consuming like hoop content.
It's really, yeah, it's really good though. It's really good. So I'll send it to you. But went there and I actually sat out a year and I didn't play at all the next year. I just kind of was on the sideline. That was when like anxiety and depression happened for me because I
Yeah.
just was not. It was new for me. There was players better than me, but like there were some practices where I didn't get into nothing,
That.
like nothing.
Oh.
And I didn't get that, like I'm like, okay, like if I don't play, people are better than me, that's fine. But I was like, dang, not to be included. And a lot of the times I'll be the only one just not included.
Yeah.
Mind you, I would show up. One thing about me is I don't give up. So I showed up to every practice. Out of the whole season, I missed one practice because I was sick.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was always on time. I was always the first on the baseline. Like I was always just consistent. So coming, if it wasn't actually for two of my friends, my boy Rob and Jermaine, like I don't know what mental space I would have been in because they always kept me laughing.
Yeah.
So we would always joke around and laugh and just, be real close. Ended up leaving there, sat out another year, uh, played at Los Angeles Trade Tech, did well, could have did better, but I think at that point it was when I was over it because I was like 22 years old. So I'm like, okay, like life is about to happen for me. So I had to kind of realize and step back and say, like the NBA is clearly not on the table. Like I have to start thinking about what I want to do. So I remember one of my student loans, I got back like 6,000. Of course, I should have gave it back, but I said no. I kind of want to start a business. That's what I did. So I started getting into like affiliate marketing in like 2019. Did not work out for me. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And
Yeah,
then I got into affiliate. I actually tried to get into it like 2 or 3 times. Then I tried to learn stocks, how to trade every day. That is the hardest shit ever. I don't know how
bro,
people do
that's
that.
pressure.
The numbers and
That
stuff is crazy. I was like, how do y'all do this? And I was really doing I'm doing notes and learning. I'm like, I don't get this. I don't get the graphs and how to go up and down, when to put in.
no, man, it's
No.
too
So
many
I stopped
numbers.
that. Too many.
Too many
So I
numbers.
stopped that. Then I tried. Okay, this was probably the dumbest shit I did. I tried to get in because I was just so stuck on trying to be a millionaire so fast.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, I just want to get rich. So I was like, let me try this thing. Like, what is the new thing now with sales? It's kind of like when you call and then like you work for like this big company and say when you like, of course, get the sale, you get like a big commission. Like,
yeah,
oh my God, on TikTok they always promote it. I can't think of it right now, but they're always promoting on TikTok. But you can make a lot of money off of it. You can make like, like 6 figures a year. And I try to get into that, but it was like $8,000. So in my head, I'm like, all right, like that sounds good. I could just be on the call. Da, da, da. But I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I don't want to do this. Like, and see, my problem was like, I think starting out, I was so naive to things. Like, I was like, excuse me, I was like, oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds good. Instead of really knowing what I want to do. So then, like, going through like 8 different businesses, spending over like $20,000 worth of nothing.
yeah,
Um, Literally, I got into clothing. I was like, and mind you, I've never was interested in clothing. I'm not like a big fashion guy. Like, I'm really not. So I got into clothing. I got into these looked at an ad with these 2 guys. I was like, okay, let me just see. So I got into it. I was like doing Printify, and I was like, okay, this sounds cool. Like, let me just do it. Started off. I was supposed to do basketball with the brand. It wasn't even supposed to be about what it is now.
yeah,
Then I was like, no, that's basic. There's too many brands. Then the brand wasn't even supposed to be about mental health. It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be about spreading positivity because at that time that's when a whole lot of negative stuff was happening. I mean, this is when like Trump was in office and like race was a big thing and the police brutality
yeah, man.
and like we were just so divided. So I was like, let me just bring out some spreading positivity. And I said, wait, like why don't I just bring mental health in too?
Yeah,
Because like that's not being talked about. So I was like, okay, so my biggest thing, I've always been like big on helping people. That's friends, that's, maybe like the homeless guy on the corner.
yeah,
Like, I always like helped because I felt like, like homeless people are so stigmatized because I feel like people just look at them and be like, oh, go get a job.
yeah.
And it's like, well, you don't know what people are going
You
through
don't.
and you don't know what their
Yeah,
situation is. So instead of judging, there's nothing wrong with giving somebody a dollar five. And I was always that type of person. If I have it, I give it.
yeah,
So I was like, okay, like why don't I just put mental health in this? Um, I I studied in communications, so I wasn't really strongly like I never lie to people. Like I always tell people like I'm still learning to this day about mental health. And luckily my girlfriend is in the field. She is a therapist.
nice.
So she wants to be a clinical social worker. So she's helping me a lot in the process. And I had to learn though. But in the meantime, I think when I was going on the journey with the brand, like I realized that okay, like I could really help people with this. So I'm like, okay, like let me like do it and see what happens. So did the Printify. Don't know if you're familiar with it, but basically it's like you just like design shirts and warehouse makes it and they ship it for you. But I didn't like the quality of it. Like the
Yeah,
quality sucked. So I said no. I said if I make an office and ship it myself, it's way more meaningful.
yeah,
And I said way more people would connect with me. So I did that. It was, man, I worked my ass off to make this office. Made the office, started selling, and like around my birthday, recently, I turned 26 and just boom, anxiety hit me like crazy.
yeah,
Ain't never hit me this bad. I've always been anxious, not this bad.
yeah,
But it hit me really like really bad. Also my father had went to prison for a boating accident. My dad had a speedboat, like those boats you see in Miami Vice and all that, like
yeah,
those big boats like that. So he was in like a boating accident in Arizona, and yeah, that really took a toll on me because me and my dad are really close,
yeah.
like super close. But I think the problem too was that I felt like growing up, I felt like I had to be perfect in a way
Hmm.
because it's like the pressure that was on me, like you gotta like make it, you gotta like da da
Yeah,
da da da. and I felt like I had so much pressure. So I think my biggest problem was trying to be perfect. Like I think that was part of my head, and I think
Yeah.
that's why I always got so anxious. So I felt like I had to have a perfect game. I had to be perfect. I had to have all these grades, and the thing in like the black household is just like if you come with like the anxiety and depression, like they don't get it. It's kind of like they think like, oh, you're just going through things, you'll be fine,
Yeah.
or like go to press them dishes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they just, like they
Like you
like
got yard
it's
work
not
to do.
it's
Go.
yeah, like I don't care what you're talking about. Like go finish this. Like it's not taken serious. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to do too. Eventually, once I grow the platform more, is just really be able to like get it in schools. I want to be able to really in the low income schools out here,
Yeah, yeah.
mainly in the hoods and stuff. I really want to like get it strongly in there so that black families can understand,
Yeah.
because I just think that it's just not put out there enough or like just ignored, right?
Yeah.
So the black and Latino communities, I really want to put it out there a lot. And yeah, man, it was the hardest time. I really didn't understand anxiety until I went through it for like 3 or 4 months strongly.
Yeah.
I still go through it now, of course. Therapy helped a lot, but I didn't understand. Like it was crazy. Like my chest was hurting. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Uh, I was always thinking about the future.
Yeah, yeah.
It was crazy. It was another thing too. Like sometimes I like think I see something and I don't. Like it was just a crazy time for me. Like I was like, what is really wrong with me? And then the crazy part is when you go to the doctors and they say it's nothing wrong with you. That's when like
Yeah.
you really
That's
be
when you're
like,
done.
okay, like what's really going on? So I really just had to like sit down with myself and learn how to accept the anxiety. So once I learned that, and my therapist told me about that, that's when it really started to help. I would tell you, it really challenged my relationship with my girlfriend. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It was a
I was
challenge.
just
It
I
was
was
definitely a
I was gonna say,
challenge.
man, you and I actually share some similarities here. Like one,
Mm,
hoop, like basketball for me is a massive part of my mental health journey.
mm,
Because it was
yeah.
also the first time that I recognized like a lot of my negative self talk. Like I really resonate with what you
Mm.
had said is like wanting to be perfect. And then on top of that, my wife is a therapist too. So like you and I share a lot of
Oh, nice.
similarities.
Oh, we do. That's cool. That's
I
dope.
love that, man. So I want to ask you, Brian, because you're absolutely right, especially with like the Black and Latino communities. There really isn't a lot of education and space to talk about when you're truly struggling. And I'm just gonna pull
Mm,
on my experience too with my father. Like I love the hell out of that man, and also
mm,
uh, he has not had the opportunities to talk about a lot of the stuff that has happened to him. So it's very much like neither seen nor heard type of thing, and you kind of just
mm,
be a man and figure this out. So like I think that there's a lot of value in what you're doing. And I was reading through a lot of your messaging and stuff like that. And I think the one thing, Brian, that I really value about you is one that you're consistent. Like I love that about people when to me at least, and I don't know if this happens for you, I think you sort of dove into this, is like
mm,
every single day you're not gonna feel your best, but uh, an ability to consistently show up, I just really value. And on top of that, you had mentioned, in your website, like strength, love, and confidence are like the
confidence.
three
Yeah.
values. And I was like, I fucking love that. So,
Yeah.
like, where do those things come from for you? Or like, are these personal values,
Man.
or like, are these things that like you're still figuring out?
Honestly, those three words, I take heed to that because
Yeah,
I used to struggle with confidence like bad, like with sports too. Like I thought I just wasn't like trying to be perfect, but then not good enough,
yeah,
and I just always struggled. But I think with me, like being consistent is important. Like I just love like when you love and have a passion, it's like you don't want to stop doing it. Like it's hard for me to take a break.
yeah,
Like, I can't really like unless I'm out the country or something or in another state, I can't be at home. I can't be at
bro.
home and just not
Yeah,
do nothing. I can't. I can't. Because I'm just gonna look at my office and be like, nah, like I should be in there. Or a lot of times I could be done and I'll just sit in here and just like stare at the wall. Like I don't know, like I'll just be like, just in my zone. And I just think the main thing is when I see other entrepreneurs that I look at or look up to, or other clothing brands I look up to, everybody's just consistent, and consistency goes a long way. Is it frustrating? Yes, yes,
yeah, yeah,
because I really feel like on TikTok I should be bigger. I really do. I feel like, of course, I don't have the best content in the world, but I think it's like good content. Like some videos, I'm like, wow, how did this not go? Or
Yeah.
like, man, like a lot of the times what I was stressing about when I was going through anxiety, I was like, man, like what if this doesn't go well?
Yeah.
I kept saying like, what if
Yeah,
this
man.
brand does not go? And I'm just like, I don't know. But then my girl was like, man, Brian, like, babe, the difference with you and with other, people who have successful mental health brands is that you are a black man.
Yeah, dude. Bro,
So a
yes.
lot of people I think resonate with you because you're a man, but not only a man, you are a black man
Yeah.
promoting this. That's different, and that's gonna be the difference. Watch. She was like, "Watch, you're gonna be big one day." Because a lot of people are gonna be like, "Damn, like it's a black dude talk about this.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Like what?
it's different. Like
Representation?
this is like shocking." Yeah, so honestly and truly, like I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to quit the brand a lot, but my girl always stays in my ear because it was just so frustrating, man. Like you gotta think, I've been doing TikToks consistently since
Yeah.
2021, consistently. So I always said once I go big, I'm going to count all the TikToks it took,
To get there.
and I'm gonna because I gotta tell that story. I probably made over 1,000 TikToks. I'm not gonna lie, I know I have, because from 2021,
All right, let's look.
2022,
All right.
even
Keep talking.
now.
Let's look.
Like I was literally, oh man, it's gonna take you a minute, I promise. But I was literally making so many videos. I was posting 3 times a day. Like I was just going crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, I reached 10K followers pretty quick, like in 3 months, which is pretty
Yeah.
well. Because on TikTok, like people don't realize, like well now it's harder than ever, but like it's hard. If you're not consistent, it's
Yeah,
hard.
bro. I
And
feel you. You're at 42.8 right now. Damn. You better up your. Hey, you better
yeah.
up your IG bio. You ain't 39 anymore.
Man, I know. Yeah, I gotta up it. I do. Like I'm trying to cause my goal too. I think next month I'm gonna try to get somebody to help me with Instagram Reels to perfect that. Well, not perfect it, but be able to just like get more eyes on me. Even with TikTok, I want to make better content because I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I'm kind of tired of making like 3, 4, 5 videos. I kind of want to make like more quality videos.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn how to make videos that are super clear. I don't know how people do that.
Hey, I will say
I get so
I will
confused.
say that this platform right here is super dope. Like, if you just were to record yourself for 10 minutes, like I said, my plan is to hook you up with like the full feed, and you can use whatever you want to use, and it's just your face. Um,
Right.
but yeah, man, I totally resonate too because when you put yourself out there, like it's a lot because
Yeah.
it's easy to have like mind you, people that have cushion jobs. I love it. If you're happy, if you're aligned, I more support to you. I love it from an entrepreneurship perspective, and I'm super biased when it comes to this. When I see someone go out in vulnerability like that, like I almost want to go to them and be like, "Yo, like I see you. Like congratulations. It is
Yeah.
so hard." And like I'm looking at my office right now that I'm standing in, like I've shed many a tear in this couch that is to my left over here. Just not
Yeah.
really knowing whether I'm going to make it, man. And I wonder, Brian, for you, when you're in those moments where you're like, I should just shut this shit down. Like, is this going to happen? You mentioned that
Mhm.
your girl is one person that picks you up, but for you, is there some sort of like anchoring message or thing that you tell yourself that you're like, no, I got to keep going?
Hebrews 11
Oh,
one.
let's go.
Faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see. I got
Show
it
me.
plastered right
Let's
there.
go.
I got it plastered right. Hold on. I got it plastered right here.
I love it.
Literally. Yeah, that's my favorite verse, and that's what I literally read whenever I'm just down. I'm like, okay, because I'm really a strong believer in God, and I go to church on Sundays. And yeah, I'm just like, man, you know what? I don't have 40. Like, whenever I think about like no, I always think like, damn, like there's 42,000 people following me
There's
though, or like there's 3,000 people following me on Instagram. Like, like that's what I think about.
isn't that thing
Like,
doesn't
I'm
it
like,
put it in
nah,
perspective though? Because like I get Brian, I get lost in that too, bro. Because I'll post something and I'm like, all right, I feel aligned with that. I felt like I just showed like my authentic self, and then it'll come back and it's like
yeah,
200 views, and I'm like, what the
yeah. Are you
I'm like,
like,
what the
man,
hell? But
what?
you know what? You know what actually puts it in perspective, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but I do have to remind myself, and I say this to you because I'm really just reminding us. Uh, I mean, how great would it be if you were to go into some sort of talk or symposium and 200 people showed up to listen to your message?
That's
You know what I
true.
mean? It's like, oh,
That's
okay.
true.
I guess that's perspective.
That's very true. That's very
It doesn't
true.
do anything for
Just like I
growth,
had to
but
think.
like personal growth, I would say like, oh, okay, I got to keep going,
I had to realize that too, because then my girl be like, "Well, Brian, imagine 42,000 people in a room.
bro.
That's a
That's a
stadium.
stadium.
Like, think about that, buddy. The stadium,
It's a
Brian. So
stadium.
that's
Listening
kind
to
of,
you.
So think about that. And I was like, yeah, that's true. So I'm trying to venture out too. I follow Keith Lee, and it's crazy too, because I know he goes through social anxiety. And I like really like looked him up, and it's crazy. My birthday is October 5th,
Hmm.
1996, and his is October 4th, 1996.
Dope.
So we're like damn near like twins. But I really like his like I kind of try to look at his content like, okay, like what does he do that just attracts people, right? And of course the way he talks and
Yeah.
like doing all that, right? It's great content. But I'm like, man, he but the main thing is he's authentic, and I'm trying to learn that more. So I try to go forward with like talking about anxiety, more about my feelings, but then I'm like, ugh, I don't want to talk too much about me. Like I don't know, I'm like caught in the middle sometimes because I was like, I'm vulnerable, but I don't want to be too vulnerable.
Wait,
You know what
wait,
I'm
hold
saying?
on.
Like
Why?
I don't want to
Why
say
not
too.
though?
I don't know. Like I don't want to say. I don't know. Sometimes like some things I kind of want to keep to
Sure.
myself. I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
like and my therapist keeps telling me too. Like you should just like like be more open when you're doing concept. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm so closed in. Maybe because it's like I feel like a lot of times I'm pretty open and I don't want to open up too
yeah.
much on social media. But I think that I know that I have to learn to be more open. Just like when I was going through anxiety, like I had a moment where I was just like I don't want to end it all, man. Like
You
I
know,
had that moment.
you know
I was
what?
like, man,
All right. I I think this is a great piece here because like what's really cool about this platform
mm,
is I can like click on like marking clips. Dude, Brian, I
mm,
would listen if you came on and you were like, listen, I have this clothing brand. Also, for the past 3 months, like I've been massively struggling. I just want to let you all
right.
know you're not alone. Because like you do have, it was actually one that I was super freaking pissed that it was sold out. But it's okay to not be okay.
Oh, it's back. You
It's
know that,
is it
right?
back?
Yeah, it's back.
Show me.
It's literally look
I
all in the
love it.
back. It's all
Okay,
in the hold on. Yeah, it's all
but
back.
yeah,
I just re-released it.
I mean, so what is that? So like that's obviously one of the pieces of clothing, one of the ideas, but where does that come from, and how do you live that?
Ooh, with the it's okay to not be
Yeah.
okay. With just the stigmatization with mental health. That's when I dropped it. I think when it was just really stigmatized at the point where people were kind of embarrassed about their mental health, which I was too. I didn't want to really express myself because I was just kind of like me being a man. I was like, we don't do that. I was like, I'm more of a person like if I have a bad day or if it's just I'm doing terrible, I just think of like, okay, next day.
Yeah.
Like, all right, tomorrow's a better day, right? Which is like the main saying in the world. But it's like, okay, what about yesterday's problem that's not resolved? That's going to come back sooner or later. So that's kind of where it resonates from with not being embarrassed about like who you are, what you're going through,
Hmm.
but being able to accept it. So, if you're going through a lot of shit, if shit is not going your way, that it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we all go through things. A lot of people are really good at hiding things. Like there's a lot of people that have committed suicide that you never would have thought that would have done it. Never would have thought. Like the last person, right? I had a friend like that did, and back in 2020, and last person on earth you would have thought.
Yeah.
It's just you never know. A lot of people fight silent battles. So that's really where I resonated with it. I think what really keeps me going though, back to that question really quick, is I've had two people tell me like, man, like you really say like this one lady said you saved my life this past weekend, and somebody else said, man, like your page saved my life.
Bro.
That's what keeps me going.
Bro.
That's deep. Like that's really deep. Like for me, like that's deep. So that says, wow, like clearly I can't quit because I'm like somebody really telling me I saved their life
Yeah.
off of
Yeah.
content,
Dude, that's so,
off of
that
clothing.
that part is special, Brian. I think again, like I'm so glad that we're connecting, and anytime that I have a guest on, like I'm super thankful for them giving us their time. So like I
Mm,
don't really pre-write out questions, but there are some questions that I do ask each and every guest, and I'm always interested to see kind of where they come from. But first, for you,
Mm,
like you mentioned that you're a man of faith. Like my big question
mm.
for you is like, are there habits, are there rituals that you absolutely swear by?
Um, Good question. Yeah, you know what the one thing is? I will be really honest. I am faithful to the soil when it comes to my girlfriend. I will never cheat. Like one thing I told her too, because she's an overthinker, but when I'm in a relationship, like I don't cheat.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's like something that is just the worst of the
Mm-hmm.
worst in my book,
Yeah.
right? Um, I've lied before, of course. Ugh. But you know, whenever I've lied, it's like I think I've lied so that you don't hurt the other person's feelings in a
Yeah.
way, or like so stuff doesn't get
Lie to
worse.
protect. Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like you know, like you're like nah, like let me, even though it's wrong, and I would always like pray about it. But I think my main one is being faithful. Like I'm just like standing like on like 10 toes with my
Yeah.
girlfriend and being faithful and letting her know how much she's loved and wanting to actually marry her. Because nowadays it's kind of like everybody's just like biting bits and pieces of
Yeah.
everybody instead of like staying grounded with one
Mm-hmm.
person. It's nothing wrong with people who don't want to have a relationship. That's fine. But I think the older I got, I just said, man, like it's just staying with one person and being faithful and growing with that person is just like the best thing to me. Like I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, in your 20s you should just live your life, and I'm like, nah, like I gotta just stay down and like grow the foundation with
Yeah.
somebody. That's just how I just want to be, you know.
Yeah.
And I have a really great woman. Like she's been by my side through it all. She could have left a couple of times, but you know she stayed grounded. And I think our biggest thing is just communication. We're big on communication. We're big on talking about things uncomfortable, comfortable, you know. So and I think what she loves about me the most is my vulnerability. She said, I love like you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think for some guys it's kind of scary to be vulnerable with some women because some women might be like, no,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like so yeah, my biggest thing is definitely staying faithful, being faithful.
I love that. So I mean, if we're looking at like value systems, like one is obviously being faithful, all right?
Hmm.
Strength, love, and confidence, obviously the three,
Yeah.
and then obviously vulnerability. Like I mean, those are probably the
Hmm.
main things that I'm getting out of this. I
Yep.
love it. So I mean, let me also ask you this. It's one of my favorite questions I like to ask a lot of guests. So obviously, this is the Can't Believe I Made It podcast. I want to ask you, have you made it? And if not, what does making it look like for you?
Oh, that's a good
Let's
question.
go.
I Man, that's a good question, actually. Wow.
Because you and
Okay.
I had a little bit of a conversation on DM, and you're like, "Hey, like I'm trying to work on some things." So like it interested me. I was like,
Yeah,
I wonder what he wants to do with all this. I mean, you mentioned going back into the schools and really diving into young kids of color. Like I love that stuff. Like
I think for me, I guess for me, that's a tough question because I think like for me, I would say no, just because like I'm not on a big platform. But then I think like in a way,
yeah,
yes,
right.
because I am helping
Those
people
two
though,
people, right?
you know? So it's like I'm down the middle with it. Like society wise, I guess you would say no, but in God's eyes, in like my platform, then yes. You know, and I think that's what I struggle with because I want to be big, man. I want to have the biggest brand
I
in the
feel
world.
it,
That's
bro.
it has potential. It has like a great message behind it. People can get behind it. I see what I'm trying to do. I think somebody else I look up to a lot is the LA rapper that passed, Nipsey Hussle, that lived
Yeah,
out here. I look up to him a lot and what he's done. Um, and being able to like basically just help your community. But I want to help like everyone in a way. Like I said, of course, Black and Latino communities. I also want to. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but when that time comes. But I want to be able to like teach entrepreneurship in schools or try to get it in there somehow with the class because I feel like that's
it
important.
is.
I feel like there's some kids that are really creative and just don't know where to start, and I think that'd be good. I think, of course, mental health. I also want to like go on Skid Row, and there's one street right by the LA Mission, and like it's a street with like buildings that are like they're like no one's in there, they're vacant. and being able to put washers, dryers, and showers. Because I think in LA, what they don't understand is
Yeah.
like, okay, you keep trying to house homeless people, but most homeless people don't want to be housed because one, they like their space. Two, some places are dangerous. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do the shelters, but a lot of it is dangerous because it's just there's a whole bunch of people in one
Yeah.
room. It's dangerous. So I think in my mind, I was like, man, if I can get a building where it's just like showers and washer and dryers for people that are just like, look, like I want to stay on the street, but you know what? Like I want to go to the job interview and
Yeah.
like I ain't got nowhere to shower. Okay, cool. I need to wash my clothes. Cool. I think that's what I'm trying. Like do something simple as that, even though it's not gonna be simple, but like kind of do something simple as that where they can just go in and do that. That's my
Yeah.
future goal. That's definitely a future goal I want to do. Um, and I have a lot of ideas in mind. I know it's gonna take years to do a lot of these things, but I'm glad it's in my brain and what I'm trying to do
Yeah.
every day. So I just take it one step at a time. I think the main thing I love doing is donating to the JED
Hmm.
Foundation, which is a foundation that helps young adults and children dealing with
Yeah.
suicide. So that's one organization I donate to, whether I get sales or not. Like I donate every month. Like doesn't matter. Um, so yeah.
I love it. Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time, Brian. I know that your time is precious. I know I'm taking you away from March Madness. Uh, I'm a
You're
University of
good.
Arizona alum and fan, so they already are out.
Oh man, y'all just lost.
That's on brand though, man. Like we do that. We I don't want to talk about it.
Man. I almost went there too, but I ended up going to Grand Canyon
Oh, for
University.
real? I did 2 semesters
Yeah,
there for grad school.
yeah,
Did-
yeah. I heard their grad program's
yeah,
pretty good. Everybody tells me.
you could have been a wildcat.
Nah, man, I don't know. I heard you. Well, no, that's Arizona State. That's the
Yeah,
party school.
not
Not you
us, not
guys.
us.
Yeah, that's Arizona
Well, bro, I
State.
appreciate you coming on, Brian. I
Ah,
think we'll talk some more logistics. I have some ideas of just wanting to continue to promote you, man. I just want to let you know I've brought your brand and what you do into conversations in my personal therapy sessions. I've brought it into a lot of the people that I pour in. Dude, I deeply believe in what you're doing, bro. So I absolutely appreciate
appreciate
you
that.
taking the time and vulnerability and consistency to continue to show up, man. So I absolutely appreciate your
Appreciate that.
work. Um, how can our pod family support you? Like, what sort of new things, what sort of new drops do you got going on? Like, what can we do to help you to continue to blow up?
All right, guys. So hold on.
Let's go.
So I just dropped this hoodie, the "It's Okay to Not Be
Okay.
Okay" hoodie. This is a bestseller. Only $55, guys. I know you guys see hoodies that are $80,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So, $55. Really good quality hoodie. Best selling hoodie. I literally just dropped it like last week. So, and it's going pretty fast. So, get it while you can. Also sign up for the SMS and email list. I'm always giving out discount codes like every week. And what else? You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Positive Mental Official, and on Facebook at Positive Mental. And yeah, guys, just come and
I
support.
love it. Let's connect when I press end to our recording right here so I can get those links and things like that. We'll make sure we throw it in the show notes. I got some
Yeah, for
ideas of
sure.
things that I want to do to continue to promote you. But Brian, man, I appreciate you
Okay.
coming on, bro. Thank you so much for shedding some light on our community and the world, man.
Thank you.